Welcome to Sports, Wheels, and Reels with Jeff Miller and Austin Horton. One show, two guys, three topics, unlimited possibilities. Presented by Mark Miller Subaru. Engage with us on social media or email us at podcast@mmsubaru.com. And now, welcome your hosts, Jeff Miller and Austin Horton.
It's the Jeff Hornacek episode of Sports, Wheels, and Reels, episode 14.
Number 14.
Who else was was Humphreys 14 as well for the Jazz? I can't remember.
They would have given Chris Humphreys 14.
No, not Chris Humphreys. What's his name?
Jay Humphreys?
Jay Humphreys, yeah.
Wow, that's old school.
I know. Trying to think of another 14.
Talking like John Crotty next and Delaney Rudd, like go back into the good old days.
See, the second run with Crotty.
When things were so happy back then.
Yeah, exactly. Hey,
I mean, remember when Karl Malone would complain every offseason and want to trade? Like we've been dealing with this for 40 years.
Remember the whole Sonics? I'm going to Seattle. Whatever.
Oh, it's just horrible.
He's Jeff. I'm Austin. Coming up on today's show, a lot of drama with the Utah Jazz. There's been 3 or 4 different yet connected reports.
We might just have to move Reels up into sports for the drama.
Yeah, it might be. We might be into awards season soon for the Utah Jazz, so to speak. A local Utah college football phenom gets his shot at the next level, and it's
not who you think it is.
Yeah, right. And if you're yelling at youth referees, stay tuned. We got news for you. In Wheels, Subaru in the news for great things, winning awards. The Toyota, someone from Toyota made a weird comment we got to talk about
that.
And one of our Love Promise partners will give a profile on. And in Reels, that's
pretty good.
That's not bad, right? It kind of evolved into Star Wars there a bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
But we're going to my favorite
Top Gun.
Maverick, coming out in like 16 days. So
Very close.
Stay tuned. Be right back on Sports, Wheels, and Reels.
I'm Spencer Kofed, and my Subaru is Extreme Adventure. Outback's really great for my lifestyle. It has just enough space for all my gear, but it's not crazy big of a footprint. If any of my friends were looking to buy a Subaru, I'd recommend Mark Miller Subaru, so you never feel like they're hiding stuff from you. Whether it's skiing, skydiving, mountain bikes, surfing, my Subaru gets me out on my adventures. Subaru is a brand I trust, and Mark Miller Subaru is the Utah retailer that I love.
All right, Jeff Miller.
Should we talk about the Jazz?
Before we hit air, I said it's a disaster. And
you always think it's a disaster.
And you always
I always bring you back off the ledge.
You do. Now that's why you run a successful business. And that's why I'm just merely a peon.
Do you know what a disaster would be is if you're the Orlando Magic?
Okay, well, yeah.
You still have 2 All-Stars and trade bait and all sorts of things. You have assets.
Would you rather be the Orlando Magic or the Sacramento Kings?
Oh, they're all bad. So you could be the Kings, too.
All right,
There's bad things out there in the world that we aren't. And we have good ownership, and we have good leadership. Well, we have good ownership.
The ownership is good at leadership.
The management's good. We have good management.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's going to be a
team leadership is a question mark.
And that's what we need to talk about is that the problem with this team's leadership. They've got the talent. The problem is leadership. And you've diverted a team to, and I love Donovan Mitchell, but he's not been a great leader.
Yeah.
And you've got a team and you've got players that could possibly be that leader. You've got Mike Conley for sure, and you've got Rudy Gobert that could take that leadership role on, but they don't, and they divert to Donovan. And Donovan's not, I don't know if he's not capable or doesn't want it. He just doesn't seem to grasp that this is my team, I need to lead these guys on.
Do you think they would follow him right now?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I'd
have
a hard time doing
down,
it.
and
yeah.
I think the stuff that went on with the injury last year, and what he throwing trainers under the buses, and I think it's stuff that leaders don't do.
Yeah.
Like I hate Chris Paul more than anything in the world. He's a hell of a leader.
He's the best leader in the NBA.
See that play where he got the offensive foul, he grabs the guy's arm and rips him up and gets a foul called. Like that's the crap that makes people hate him.
But you love it if he's on your team.
Without question.
That's what Joe Ingles does all the time.
Oh my gosh, how much different would it have been if the Jazz would have gotten him instead of Conley?
Now, right.
Back 3 years ago instead of when they got rid of Rubio?
Yep.
We would win championships with that.
Yeah, I wonder. He's been Chris Paul, I mean, has been on record a few times not thrilled about the idea of ever playing in
There's a
Utah.
chance, but
But he has
he
also an axe to
he
grind.
also had to go play in Oklahoma City.
Right, and he was mad the Jazz drafted Darren Williams instead of him. But anyway.
So you got the drama now.
So let's talk. Donovan's inner circle was in the
you
news.
got those two guys again. That's the big issue.
We'll just start every week.
We're just going to keep that picture in the slideshow forever.
Will eventually there be a jagged line between the two of them? And
Eventually,
rip
I'm going to
apart?
start working on my Photoshop skills, and I'll put different people's faces on one of them. You'll see, like, Rudy with, like, Jimmy Butler.
You have to raise them up a little, too. All right, so Donovan's inner circle was in the news. Apparently, they were really mad when Rudy Gobert this season said that Donovan Mitchell, not directly, but that Donovan Mitchell's defense is awful, because it's true.
Yeah, I mean, and it's coming to think. I mean, you watch, and I've always been a Donovan over Booker guy, but you watch in the playoffs right now how hard Booker's playing on defense, and that extra 2-3 inches of length that he's got.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's made it. I mean, Brunson looks pedestrian.
Yep.
Brunson's cost himself millions and millions of dollars in this second round
I saw someone
after
say,
making a lot of money against us
Right.
in the first round.
Mark Cuban's over there going,
Yeah, I don't have to pay him. But I think a lot of with Donovan is he's got the athletic ability to do it. There's an effort thing on that defensive end where he saves it for the offensive end, and maybe it's what the Jazz are asking him to do, but you can't be a superstar without playing on both sides.
So his inner circle was mad about those comments. My friend Sean O'Connell, OC as he's known in the market,
Blew up Utah Twitter by reporting on Gobert.
said that now it got blown out of proportion a bit from what Sean originally said. The headlines that came out was Rudy Gobert says it's him or me in regards to Donovan Mitchell. Not what was reported.
Rudy wouldn't have said that.
Not what was said. The truth is always somewhere in between. What apparently has gone down is that there's been enough stuff between the two players, in the media, outside the media, inside the locker room, outside the locker room, that in their with management meetings over the last week or two, Rudy said to management, essentially, it might be to the point where you need to make a decision what to do with our futures together.
If they can't work it out and they can't decide they want to be a team together, they have to. They can't just sit for the next 3 years and let these guys fight and be drama
Yeah.
and get first round exits in the playoffs
Yep.
when you could fix it. And you've got two guys that both have a lot of value. And we'll go to some quotes out there, right?
Okay. Yep. Let's hit them.
So these are the
Now this is from David Aldridge
This is
of
David
The
Aldridge.
Athletic.
talk about who do they trade? Is it Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell? Do you trade Conley too? Or do you blow it up? You can't blow it up.
Yeah, he says there's a blowed up scenario, but I don't think that happens.
There's no blow up scenario. I think you get rid of one of them, but both of them are going to get you someone back. It's not like this is going to be a fire sale for either one of them. You're going to get an all-star caliber player back for either one of those guys.
The only way that you blow it up is if you get the unforeseen, unbelievable offers that are dream candy, like Luka Doncic for both of them.
But that's not blowing it up. That's bringing an all-star back. Like blowing it up is.
I see what
my
you mean,
definition
yeah.
of
The
blowing
difference
it up,
there, yeah.
Blowing
Mhm.
it up is I'm going to trade it for 8 first-round picks.
Andres Biedron's season coming up. Yeah,
And we're just
Mhm.
going to blow it all up, go down to the draft and figure it all out. They're not going to do that.
They can't do that.
In this market, they have to be a playoff team.
So Tony Jones saying that the Jazz are more likely to move on from Rudy than Donovan. Aldridge here saying what I think we all agree, Rudy brings back less in return than Donovan would. But do you have enough with Donovan minus Rudy to contend for a title, regardless of who you bring in, Jeff Miller?
Our defense gets so bad.
Yep.
I mean, I mean, my personal opinion, I've said it. I think it has to go one of the two ways. Unless they can figure out how to sit down in a room and decide that they're going to win a championship together and they're going to be teammates together and create that commitment, they've got to get rid of one of them. And I think it's got to be. I think you get us closer to a contender status with what you could get for Donovan than what you could get for Rudy. So I think if you could get 2 perimeter defenders, one of them that's an offensive threat, and you still pair them with Rudy, the Jazz are a top 4 team in the West,
Yeah.
right? You have to have someone who can score 20 points a game and 2 guys that can play on the defense perimeter. Like, the trade I love the most, and I talked about this a couple weeks ago, is if you could trade Donovan for Tobias Harris and Thibault,
That'd be awesome.
I think that'd be an amazing trade.
You do take the ball.
And Tobias Harris has always been rumored to want to come to Utah.
Yeah, he and Quinn Snyder have a relationship,
Yeah.
but how long is Quinn Snyder wanting to stay with the Jazz is out there as well.
But I think if you could get him in a position where he has a solid defensive team that's not just leaving Rudy out to dry all the time, that's a pretty solid team. I mean, Tyball's not great on offense, I'll give you that, but he is a lockdown defender that you could put at the 2 and actually lock down the best guard instead of having Ole, good luck,
Yeah.
Rudy.
So I think there's actually a really easy fix to where Rudy and Donovan could stay together and this team could make something of it. But it has to be, we mentioned it with Donovan and the Booker comparison a moment ago, Donovan just has to give an effort on defense and Rudy will be pleased. And Rudy has to never put the ball below his shoulders and
No.
Donovan will be
Catch
pleased.
the ball. And we don't need to work on defense this summer, Rudy. You're good. Get the weight room.
Ball
stay
up here,
strong.
ball in.
Let's work on hook shots. Let's work on little 5-foot jumpers. That's all we need.
But will either of them be able to or willing to do
So
those
here's
things?
the other scenario where the Jazz could fix things, right? Is when you talk about the idea is that Donovan with some effort doesn't need to be hidden. If Donovan with some effort, if he's the smallest guy on the court, won't need to be hidden. The problem right now is you've got Donovan and then you put Conley next to him, who's also small, and now you've got 2 targets that they can just post up and destroy.
Yeah.
Take to the hoop. So do you move on from Conley, give Donovan the reins at point guard, bring in a Tyball type player, wing defender, and you get better on the perimeter defense. You lose Conley, but you give Donovan the reins at offense and make him not the smallest guy on the court on defense.
Does Donovan have the ball skills needed to be will he take a step back if he's bringing the ball up that often?
I think he will.
And I guess in today's NBA, the point guard doesn't always bring the ball up either. That's
No, but is that
old school.
is that another way to fix it?
Yeah. Well, you force the team to follow Donovan
Yeah.
if you give him the ball that
You
much.
give him the reins, and now you force that leadership role.
But if you're going to do that, I don't think Rudy's on the team.
I don't know.
Yeah. So lots of stuff.
I mean, that's the thing is we're gonna have a lot of fun in the next 4 months talking about all this on the podcast. It's definitely gonna come up a lot.
Check out David Aldridge's piece in The Athletic if you're a Jazz
Yeah.
fan. It's worth it. All right, playoff update real quick,
Playoff
Jeff.
update.
I'm not wearing a hat today.
I know.
I'm just saying.
I haven't figured out which one yet. I couldn't find a Laker hat.
Are we gonna have to go? Yeah. Well, the DI has a bunch, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Are we gonna have to do double or nothing in the semifinals?
Yeah, we're doing. We already have the.
Or the
picks
conference
the
finals?
picks
I
are
mean?
in.
Yeah.
So we got our picks in for the conference.
Okay.
Phoenix looks really good.
Are they going to win the whole thing? And what will that do to Jazz fans?
They're my favorites. I just hate Chris Paul.
I would rather see I'd rather see the Warriors win it again than Chris Paul ever win a title. Yep.
I just don't like him.
Oh, my friend Spence Checkers would be insufferable if Chris Paul ever wins a championship.
But they look good. Golden State looks really good.
Yeah, although Memphis tied that up.
Yeah, they did sneak one out on that.
Yeah, will that be their only?
Golden State losing Gary Payton hurts. That hurts a lot. He's kind of their defensive guy off the bench, and that was because he's out for the playoffs, right?
He is. Yeah,
Broken
3
elbow?
weeks minimum.
Broken elbow.
Dylan Brooks suspended
Was
for
that
game
dirty?
3. Oh, 100%
He
dirty.
deserved to be suspended.
Yes,
I
I think he should have been
100%.
suspended 2 games and fined. But
There are a bunch of guys saying that he shouldn't have been suspended. Like I don't.
that's
get that.
crazy. That's
crazy.
Are they all in Memphis?
He wound up and went straight at his head.
And I do
And Dylan
believe
has a reputation.
that's. I was gonna say there
Yeah, he's a
is
reputation.
something to be weighted on reputation and past history. I think that Draymond getting ejected the other night, that weighted too much on his past history. But both he and Kane Fitzgerald at this point are never getting the
No, he
benefit
deserved-
of the doubt.
Did you watch the play? He deserved
I
it.
did.
He slapped him in the head first. Everyone looks and sees the pull down. Before he took an arm, came right down the guy's forehead.
But that's the part where I think his rep makes you think that was intentional and it could have been
And
unintentional.
if he had just hit him in the head, it's a thing or two. But then he hits him and then pulls him to the ground
Pulling him to the ground is dirty,
after decking him in the face.
which could have been not unintentional. But anyway,
What about the East?
Miami, it's over for Philadelphia.
Which I think could be good for the Jazz.
It could
I
be.
find my trade, them getting swept in the second round, gets that trade because now they can re-sign Harden and they go for a big 3 of Donovan, Harden, and
Oh,
Embiid.
would you re-sign Harden? I think that's what they're wondering right now.
They have to after what they gave up for him.
Oh.
Well, they gave up a guy who wasn't playing, but That's so
I've Harden has aged 5 years in the last 7 months.
And the rules just kill him.
Oh, they're
New
over.
rules just murder him.
I think it's over for him. I do. And then Milwaukee and Boston. That's the series to watch, man.
Milwaukee and Boston, those two teams are so good. Both of those teams.
It's a shame that they're playing now.
That should be the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes.
That really should be the NBA Finals.
That'd be fun, yeah. But it's going to be Phoenix or Golden State, I think. Probably Phoenix at this point. And I think it's either Boston or Milwaukee.
I think it's Phoenix-Milwaukee again. I think it's a rematch. I don't think it's anybody's series. I think if Chris Paul stays healthy the whole time, I think Phoenix wins it.
That's probably that's the big question
If they stay healthy and Booker stays okay, I think they win it.
Now let me ask you this: Ayton or Doncic?
Ayton or Doncic?
Yeah, because remember the Suns. Igor Kokoshkov was the coach at the time. He knew Luka Doncic as a
Oh my
kid.
gosh, could you imagine if you put Doncic and Chris Paul together in the same team? I would want to kill somebody.
Phoenix.
They're like the two whiniest human beings on the planet.
But Phoenix chose Ayton instead of Doncic.
Yeah.
And now I saw a report this week that was like, Ayton was a better choice than we thought. And I was like, no.
No, you still take Doncic. You can. Doncic is the top 4 player in the
11 times out of 10,
Yeah.
Doncic.
Yeah, there's no doubt you take Doncic.
All right, let's move on then. Our friend Tom Hackett. Yes,
Hackett.
Tom
The
Hackett,
greatest punter in college football history.
who could have been still at this point in the NFL had he taken the combine seriously, in my opinion. I've talked to Tom about that a few times. He got a call this week that he was drafted with the 6th overall
Sixth
pick
by Winnipeg.
in the Canadian
CFL.
Football League.
Is he going?
So he actually, and I've got a quote from him. He said, "I still have to win the job. I was a first-round pick in the CFL Global Draft. It's not like there's a big signing bonus. It's not as cool as it sounds. I am excited. It's just there are things that I have to figure out."
So there's not automatic signing bonuses for the CFL.
There's not.
It's not
And
how
the
it
way he got in was he went up there and kicked punts for pro day for Britton Covey,
works. Okay.
and
Oh,
some
so-
scouts saw him do that.
He's like, he can still kick.
Yes. And his coach in Australia said, "There's some people interested. Can we put your name in the draft?" He's like, "Yeah, go for it."
Does Covey make the Eagles?
Yeah, Covey's their starting day returner.
You think he's their
Yep.
starting day returner?
I do. Yep.
That'd be cool. I love Covey. He's
as
such
a free agent,
such a
too.
good dude.
All right, and then finally, do we have time to play the video, or should we just talk about it?
Let's talk. We got a
Let's
couple of
talk about
videos
it.
coming up.
So KSL did a report. You can check out the video at KSL.com if you'd like. This Utah Youth Soccer Association has drawn a hard line, a zero tolerance policy going forward with talking down to referees. And it's about damn time, if I may say so, that someone does something this hard and this hard about. It's these guys and gals are 13 years old.
kids. Like I have an 8-year-old who's in youth soccer. and
Yeah.
They literally are 13-year-old kids, and you got like parents yelling at these 13-year-olds.
If anyone treated my child the way that some of these parents and coaches have been treating these children, I'd probably be in prison for how I would react.
I am a youth baseball coach.
Oh, are you?
I am. I coach a minor league baseball team.
A minor league baseball
So
team?
it's 8, 9, 10-year-olds.
Oh, they call it minor.
Yeah,
I
call it
got
minors.
you.
It's the minors of Cal Ripken League, right?
I got you.
And like, yeah, you get frustrated with umps and you get frustrated with
Sure.
things, but yeah, you don't yell at them. You don't even say anything to them. Like,
Yep.
they're kids. Like, these are kids you're yelling at, basically.
I've had my experience.
Even if they're adult umpires, like,
Yes.
these are 9-year-olds.
And it's youth soccer.
So the fields my kids play on in baseball, they've got a sign that's on the wall of the, like,
Backstop. or
backstop
whatever.
area, like the snack shack and everything like that. It's like, there will be no college scholarships given out today. Like, please do not yell at the umpire.
Sports Center isn't here.
Totally.
Yeah,
It's like, there will be no signing bonuses paid for your kid's performance.
Right.
It's like, okay, like, this is just for fun. Like, they're learning. Your kids are learning how to play, and they're learning everything you say to that ump, your kid's listening to.
Yeah,
And
and
they're embarrassed. I'll tell you right now, every one of them is embarrassed by you.
yeah, I think I'm glad to see UISA doing this.
But they're going to kick the whole fit team.
There will be no spectators
There'll be no
allowed.
spectators
If
allowed.
one person crosses that line, the whole team's
Spectators aren't allowed
the
to show
players still get to
up for
play,
the rest of the season.
but the rest of the
You
season,
drop your kids off and you're done.
you don't get to watch your child play because John couldn't hold his tongue with the 13-year-old referee, and I think it's good. About time. All right, that's it. get off my lawn fest over, but it needed to happen.
That definitely needed to happen.
Coming up next in Wheels, Subaru winning awards, and we've got the videos to prove why. Toyota with some strange comments, and the Bicycle Collective, our Love Promise Partner of the Week, coming up next.
Perfect.
My name is Sierra Hudson. My Subaru is safety for my family. So this past winter, we hit a black ice and we just started to slide. And it was just one of those moments where you truly feel helpless. I know it's a car, but it means so much more to us and our family. Subaru is one of the safest brands, and I've personally lived that. Subaru is a brand you can trust, and Mark Miller Subaru is the local Utah retailer that you will love.
All right, welcome back, Sports Wheels and Reels, episode 14. He's Jeff Miller. I'm Austin Horton. Come see us down here at 3535 South State, the Midtown store. See our peeps at the Southtown store at 10905, 10904, 10920. Sorry, it's in the Automall Drive.
How about 109th and State?
109th and State. Go check them out.
Make it easier for you.
Absolutely. So come by, see us. It's a tough time right now for a lot of people. Help us make it a little easier. If you're looking for that car, we'll take care of you, so come down and see us. Speaking of cars, Jeff.
Electric cars. So tax breaks on electric cars.
So you sent out an email about what Automotive News
Yeah,
said.
so I sent an email out to our entire sales staff talking about, so electric vehicles, plug-in hybrids, there's a $7,500 tax credit given by the federal government, but it's only for the first, I think it's 200,000 cars a manufacturer makes. So Tesla's done. Tesla's already sold that many cars that there's no more rebates on buying a Tesla. Toyota is actually hitting it in the next couple of months. So as they come out with this new EV, the Toyota version versus our Subaru version, which is the better looking version,
Yeah, and better named.
they will not have tax breaks. So Subaru will have a $7,500 tax advantage
For the first
for the first
200,000.
200,000, which is going to take Subaru a long time to make that many cars. But an interesting comment from the head of Toyota about
Yeah,
that.
the head of North America sales, Bob Carter, said this. Toyota is not opposed to additional EV tax credits, but said his personal view is that any tax credits should be directed, quote, at consumers that need them, instead of underwriting expensive luxury vehicle purchases to those with means. He continued, we know right now that the average BEV is transacting at about $68,000,
Yep.
way above what the Solterra is priced at.
44 to 50.
And the average income of that person that buys them is north of $150,000 in household income, Carter said. This is him continuing. So you can argue the philosophical, is that the best investment for our tax dollars to go to the more wealthy part of the industry? But Congress needs to decide that, close quote.
Which is hilarious because once he runs out of tax credits, now he's willing to talk about how they're going to the wrong person.
Where was this
Yeah, he
for
didn't
the
have this
last 7
conversation
years,
4
Bob?
years ago, and I don't have much confidence in Congress.
Do we have a breaking news thing?
It's about here. they're not getting anything done.
Jeff's confidence in Fox News is just above Congress.
It's not good, and they're not going to get it. I don't see them ever getting this expanded. There's multiple reasons. On one side, they're not going to want to do EV credits.
Yeah.
On the other side, they're not going to want to blow up the deficit.
Yes.
So you're not getting anything done.
So get the tax credit
So-
while it's available.
So find the ones you can get the tax credit. It is a huge deal, though. I mean, what it's doing, we're starting to see, hopefully pretty soon, the leases coming out on these Solterras. And with that $7,500 off, they're going to lease pretty well,
yeah.
right? Because the $7,500 goes straight to the lease company as part of the price. It's just a straight cap cost reduction. So it's like having $7,500 down on your lease.
Yeah.
So these should actually lease pretty solid.
And that's someone else's $7,500, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
yeah,
whereas
you
it-
pay taxes.
That's the way it
too.
works. Is the difference is if you lease it, that $7,500 goes straight to the purchase, and it goes
Correct.
part right at the transaction. On a buy, you report it on your taxes later in the year, and you get a credit back.
On your taxes, yeah.
So
Whereas, and again, a $45,000 car on a lease now becomes $7,500
that's
less.
the idea, and that's what the EV world's got to get to, and it will, as everyone's moving towards. I think Volvo announced this week that starting in 2023, every model they have will be electric or plug-in.
That's a wild,
There will be
ambitious
0
goal.
straight gas cars in the Volvo lineup next year.
Will they make it?
I don't know. That's a pretty bold call So no gas cars.
They better have been working on this before today.
But I just got back. I'm on Subaru's regional advisory board, and I
Okay.
just got back from my meeting yesterday. And one of our resolutions on our regional board is this idea that Subaru needs to have a full line of plug-in hybrid and electric vehicles in the next 2 or 3 years, because they're going to have to compete. And Subaru's got the capability of putting a plug-in in an Outback, putting a plug-in in a Forester.
They have it in the Crosstrek.
Yeah,
You just
they've
got to get it here.
They've got to be able to start making more of them, and
Yep.
they've got to figure out how to do it in a cost-effective fashion that makes it affordable and still has the capabilities and the performance.
Yeah, like our market here in Salt Lake and Utah, it's not the most populous market of Subaru, but per capita it is.
Yeah.
And everyone wants, I think you'll see Utah populations move more towards plug-in hybrids before they're all in on EVs. Not to say no one will be.
And I
but-
think the plug-in hybrid's the way to go on it, because the plug-in hybrid, you get the best of both worlds. You still have the safety net of gas until they can get a network up of
That's
electric.
it, yeah.
But at the same time, when I was driving my plug-in Crosstrek, I got 12 or 1,300 miles a tank,
That's ridiculous.
because I plug it in at home, plug it in at work, and I just go back and forth, and it only got 15 miles.
That's insane.
But I work and live close enough to where I am that it made a lot of sense to me. But I had another friend who was looking at one, and she's like, "Oh, I want to get a plug-in hybrid." And I was like, "You're driving 40 miles a day. You can't do it. Like, it works for someone who's got that 5-10 mile commute. It doesn't work for someone who's going 40 or 50 miles a day."
Well, yeah. mhm.
Until they can get that. So like a RAV4, which you can't find, and they're a lot more expensive, that one has a 50-mile range or a 45-mile range. That makes that kind of work. If they could get those plug-in hybrids to be 50 to 80-mile ranges
Yeah.
with a gas tank, I mean, that's a great option. And that's what we're pushing Subaru on. And the word we got back from them is that when we go to our meetings in July, which is in Texas, by the way. Who schedules a meeting in July in
Ugh.
Texas? First of all, okay.
Don't-
Don't get me started on that.
Jeff will be topless all week.
It's going to be brutal. But they're supposed to give us a full rundown of the future electric plans of Subaru.
Well, that'll be cool.
So we'll have a lot more information come July on what Subaru's going to in the electric world.
We got some great information on the BRZ, the new BRZ we've talked about
Crash
before on the
testing.
show.
I love watching crash testing videos.
And we're going to play this video for you from the IIHS, which stands for,
The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety.
they are completely independent. They're not like Consumer Reports, who sometimes, dips
And I'm
into
going to
their
show you
pocket.
this as you watch, but look at this. So this is what they call the offset crash test. So they started doing this a few years ago. And what this does is, instead of doing just a straight-on crash test, because what happens in straight-on crash tests is you have an engine to block you.
Right.
So like companies that figure out, okay, I can figure out how to make the engine drop and I can get all that energy. They do this a quarter off the left side, on the driver's side. So it's like an offset, not hitting something perfect, hitting a pole, basically, right? So there's no engine to thing it. So it's all about frame and support. And so
Or your head-on collisions that you swerve at the
this
last
40
second.
miles
Yeah.
an hour to get all the way into the crash and see no rigidity movements here. You can see just barely wobbles, right?
Just a little bit.
But keeping that area there as solid as it is why this car won the Top Safety Pick Plus for the first time ever that a sports sedan won this award.
Wow.
It has never happened in the history of IHS that they've got a Top Safety Pick Plus for a sports sedan. And it's the Subaru version and the Toyota version as well.
Let's let Ashley play the video for the viewers now.
I think I can have it on here too.
Okay.
We can actually show it right here on the board. So
Okay,
we
let's
watch it-
just
we can watch
okay.
it real time.
Sorry,
with
Ashley. Sorry.
with our
go,
thing, right?
go back to sleep, Ashley. All right. So
See
that
how
is a
solid that
violent
is.
crash.
It's a violent crash.
How fast were they
They
going?
go 40.
Okay.
But watch this and how solid that is holding that in.
You're right.
That's where you're
You
protecting
saw a little
where
bit
you're
of,
protecting the human being is right in there, right?
but this is just a body shop
Yeah.
fix. This is a total.
The
And
car's total, but the whole
watch
back
the
is fine.
inside when they get
Yeah.
to. This is a good view.
And have see there's very little movement here. That means no broken legs, no broken arms.
And when they show the inside, I'm not talking to the mic. Sorry.
Yeah,
Now
watch
this
the
is my
legs.
favorite.
Knee airbags protects all that.
You might have a slight sprain of the wrist because your hand flew off the steering wheel. But this is phenomenal.
That's as good as it gets.
In that small of a
That
sports
small of
car.
a vehicle that weighs that little to be able to pull that off.
I mean, I'm new to this world a little bit, Jeff. Subaru has a lot to hang their hat on in safety. Videos very similar across the line, but for their BRZ to be that safe, That's something we need to be trumpeting that constantly.
So we actually had a customer last week, and we had a conversation with him about it, and he actually it was right after he did his 30K service, which made him a little upset about it. But
oh, man.
literally the day after he got his car back from us on his 30K service, he was driving down, I want to say Redwood Road, and someone ran a red light, and he T-boned them in a brand new STI at 45 miles an hour.
Oh, my gosh. So faster than this.
45 mile an hour straight into the thing, was able to open the door of his WRX STI and walk out the door.
Unbelievable. In a T-bone at 45.
He only got 45 miles an hour, walked away.
That's great.
Like, didn't know him, like, I mean, I was like, did you have even a scratch? He's like, no. Like, the airbag hit me that hurt a little bit, but the person's perfectly fine. He's coming back in to buy a new WRX as soon as he can.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, crazy.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? But yeah, but that's why you buy Subarus, and that's why Subarus have top safety picks. They have more top safety picks, I think, literally than Toyota, Honda combined.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
With our 7 models.
Right, yep.
So, I mean, that's
a little
this is
tooting
what
of
we
our
do.
own horn here, but I think
But I love
it
watching
speaks
these
for
videos, because
itself.
just seeing that is what makes, in a car that small, to have that kind of rigidity in that C-pillar is insane.
You know, as a kid, I had a bucket of crash test dummy toys. You remember those? They had the little buttons and their arms
Yeah.
and heads would fly off.
Yeah.
I was a little weird kid. But every time I watch this and I see that,
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, that reminds me of my childhood.
And it goes back to the difference in what, and Subaru, they've pitched this since back in the day, and it was a huge problem back in the day because they spent so much money in engineering that they didn't spend any in design.
Okay.
So it's why Subaru's always had a bad reputation for being ugly cars back 20 years ago, right?
Way back when.
Yeah, way back when. And then they started putting more money towards the thing, but they never
Yeah.
took down the money that they spent on R&D on the engineering side. The difference on a Subaru is a lot of manufacturers build the car, this is what we want the car to look like, and let's engineer the inside of it. Subaru engineers the car and then builds the outside.
Around that. yeah.
Around what they build and engineer. That's why they can do this.
And I mean, the Forester's always been a great car, but it's only been a sexy car for like the last 5 years. So, yeah.
Totally.
All right, our Promise Partner of the Week. You can find info about all of our Love Promise partners
Bicycle Collective.
at markmiller.com, markmillersubaru.com. The Bicycle Collective. Now, last month, April, was Earth Month. It would have been a great month to get the bike out and ride the bike to work, ride it to UTA, and show UTA that we're going to support free fares going forward. But I wanted to
Once
talk
again,
about
that
it.
takes the legislature.
That's right, in our confidence.
Confidence in politics.
The Bicycle Collective is a nonprofit cycling. You can take your old bikes to them. They get them from police auctions, or actually the police donate them if they've not been reclaimed after they've been stolen. You can donate your time and efforts to learning how to fix bikes there. For $10, you can take a bike mechanics class.
Oh, that's cool.
But what I really like what they're doing right now is what they do for the refugee community. And we're going to see, hopefully, fingers crossed, very soon, a lot of Ukrainian refugees flooding into Utah.
Yeah.
The governor's all about it, which I think is fantastic. We saw it with Afghanistan. By the way, we still need a lot of help with our friends over in Afghanistan. There are people that are stuck, and it's too bad. But if you have an old bike, if your kid is getting a new bike, if you have a garage sale, rather than selling those, why not take them up, donate them to the Bicycle Collective, where they're going to give them to potentially refugees who don't have a way to get around town. Mm-hmm. They'll be able to get a place to live, a job to work at, a way to provide for their family, and eventually their life will be better because you donated an old thing collecting dust in your garage.
Totally. And
So-
you can go to our website, markmillersubaru.com, go to our Love Promise pages, and you can get the information on how to help, for sure.
And their website is bicyclecollective.org as well. All right, coming up next, Top Gun Maverick. It's like 19 days away.
You're not going to sing the song again?
I can't.
Da-na-na-na.
Highway to the danger
Okay,
zone.
okay, make it stop.
Maybe I could do Take My Breath Away. That's in there. Or You Never Close Your Eyes Anymore When I Kiss Your
We're
Lips.
losing followers as we go. All right.
All
onward.
6 of you, please stay on. We'll be right back. I won't sing maybe.
My name's Jamie Usry, and my Subaru is Freedom. I've had so many animals over the years. One of the things that I love about Mark Miller Subaru is they're the largest animal welfare supporter in the Salt Lake Valley. You may not even realize it, but they're probably supporting a nonprofit that you love in the community. And my wife and I, our daughter Harper, and our dogs, we're just so happy that we picked Mark Miller Subaru. Subaru is a brand that I trust, and Mark Miller Subaru is the local retailer that I love.
You lost that love. Oh, we're back. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's time.
Top Gun.
We made it.
We've only waited, what, 2 years for this?
Almost
3
three.
years for that?
Almost.
It was supposed to come out Memorial Day.
Memorial, July 4th.
Memorial of COVID,
Christmas.
right?
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
Memorial of 2020 when it was supposed to come out.
They punted it to July 4th. They punted it then to Christmas. Then back. Now it's finally this Memorial Day.
2022.
We're going to get it. And
It's coming.
I want to say, we're going to play the trailer for you.
Yeah, we're going to play it right now.
Hit it.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
What do we have here? God, here I thought we were special.
Fellas, this here's Bagman.
Hangman.
Whatever.
What the hell kind of mission is this?
Everyone here is the best there is. Who the hell are they gonna get to teach us?
Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell. Let me be perfectly blunt. You are not my first choice. You are here at the request of Admiral Kazansky, AKA Iceman. He seems to think that you have something left to offer the Navy. What that is, I can't imagine.
With all due respect, sir, I'm not a teacher. Just want to manage expectations.
What the hell? Good morning, aviators. This is your captain speaking.
And we're off.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
We're going into combat on a level no living pilot's ever seen.
Not even him.
You think up there you're dead. Believe me.
My dad believed in you. I'm not gonna make the same mistake.
Someone's not coming back from this.
Those are your pilots. Anything happens to them. You'll never forgive yourself.
No turning back now.
Having any fun yet?
Wow.
Yeah, right?
If I may
We're
say so.
excited.
Now I remember.
We might have to have a field trip.
That's right. That'd be great.
We're going to have a Sports Wheels and Reels field trip.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, we got to go do that.
I remember back when the first Top Gun came out, how many people signed up to be in the Navy and the Air Force.
Oh my gosh, like they went through the roof.
And so much so that now the United States military considers it one of their top advertisements of all time. What is this going to do for
Oh my
us?
gosh, it's going to go through the roof again.
So I did want to share thoughts from Larry Tassoni, film buyer at Megaplex Theaters. He said expectations were very high for this film.
They're through the roof.
He was worried about them walking that line of nostalgia and cheesy.
Okay.
He said they nailed it. That there's enough nostalgia, but not too much cheese.
Who's the director?
Isn't it the same director as
the
before?
same?
I can't remember their name now. We'll have to Google that.
I'll have to Google.
Ask
Google that
Siri,
when we work
as
out.
it were. But he said Tom Cruise is excellent. The young cast. I love Miles Teller. Looks just like Goose, his dad, allegedly in the show.
Joseph Kosinski.
I think that's who. No, that's not who did the first one. Anyway, moviegoers will want to see this multiple
It's a
times.
Bruckheimer, though.
Jerry Bruckheimer
Jerry
production.
Bruckheimer's the producer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And it will appeal to a much new younger generation as much as it did to fans of the original.
Yeah, great
16
cast,
days
too.
from now. Yeah.
Tom Cruise, obviously, Miles Teller, Jennifer Connelly, John Hamm, Ed Harris. Maybe an appearance from Val Kilmer.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see where that
At
goes.
least you saw a picture of him in
Saw
the
a picture of it in
in
the trailer.
All right, and then I always like to give you.
Got
So
some
we're
Lady Gaga on the soundtrack.
we're very excited about Top Gun Maverick. I don't know that I will come away from that movie being disappointed, even if it is bad, because it's Top Gun. It's
No,
come
I
on.
feel like I need to go home this week and watch the original just to get myself in the mood.
Oh, it's not a weekly ritual for you already?
You watch it already? Once a week?
I knew the songs by heart, and I nailed them.
I've got a 9-year-old who's like super excited about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right. I also like to give you a streaming option each week. And Jeff, you haven't seen
I've
this
not
movie.
seen this. Adrift.
It's a true story.
I love the true stories.
Shailene Woodley, soon to be Shailene Woodley Rogers, I think, as she announced she's going to hyphenate. She's marrying Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, really?
Yeah.
He loves the actresses, doesn't he?
He does. Well, and race car drivers.
Oh, yeah,
Danica
David
Patrick
Danica,
for a
David.
minute, yeah.
He's kind of weird.
He is. He is very weird. She and I think the guy's name is Michael Claflin. I can't remember. Sam Claflin. He's a fantastic actor, by the way. You know him
So what's
first
the story?
from Hunger
Like
Games.
A lost sailboat out in the world?
She decides as a young college student to travel the world and find a job wherever she lands, and just try. And she meets this guy who is trying to build up a sailing business, and they fall in love, and then they have a shipwreck. It's a true story. It's fantastic, and this is the biggest twist I've seen in a movie since Lucky Number 11.
Okay.
So you have to watch it, and you haven't seen it.
Nope, I'm going to have to go watch it. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want
Okay,
any
so we'll
spoilers.
move on. We'll move on.
No spoilers.
But that's your streaming suggestion of the week, and in theaters now, Doctor
More
Strange.
Marvel. I know how much you love Marvel.
What is this called? Madness Multiverse? What
Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, God, I can't. I'm over Marvel. I'm sorry, not sorry. I am. I'm over Marvel. I can't do it. Hector on our sales team was talking about Moon Knight on Disney Plus. I was like, what is that? I'm just so
They're
disconnected
just
from
making
Marvel.
up characters these days.
Yeah, that's right. They're just, and people are just still lapping it up at the box office.
That's why they do it.
I loved the first
This is a
Doctor
business.
Strange. It is, yeah. I loved the first Doctor
This isn't art.
Strange.
This is not art.
No.
Your last movies, those were art.
Who got in trouble for Martin Scorsese?
Yeah, these aren't winning any Academy Awards.
Except they might. That's the
No.
world we live in now.
No.
Now look, Black Panther should have won Best
Black
Picture that
Panther,
year.
absolutely. Black Panther was definitely.
And I am interested to see how they do Black Panther 2, the sequel. But I'm a little over it. I am at this point. But it'll make money. People will love it. And that's probably what you're going to see this weekend. So tell me how wrong I am. I'm on Twitter at Austin Horton.
Make sure to tell him how wrong he is.
The show is the SWR Podcast. Find us and tell us what's more wrong, my singing or my take on Marvel.
And I'm sure we're going to have a lot more jazz drama for next week. It will not stop all summer long, will it?
This is our life.
It's going to be a summer of what did Rudy say and what did Donovan say.
This is the
every
days
week.
of our lives, as it were.
I want to have some random guy. I want to have like a Alexander Walker come out and say a quote about Rudy and Donovan and just blow the whole thing up.
Neil Alexander Walker.
Just some crazy. Like,
Jared Butler's like, oh, I can't believe I had to survive a year with those two together.
I want something like that. Like
You Doka Azubuki. He's like,
come out of
I broke
nowhere.
my own ankle, so I didn't have to be around them anymore. Yeah. All right, that's it for this Jeff Hornacek edition.
Number 14.
Which Abby Hornacek followed me on Twitter earlier this week.
Wow.
It was a fake account. Yeah.
Not as cool as you thought.
I was like, wow,
You're
she
so
followed me
excited.
back. It wasn't
No.
true. Plus, she works for Fox News now, so I don't really like her that much anyway. Next week, if we're not canceled, episode 15, Jeff and Austin will be back.
Have a great week.
Until then, Utah by 5.
Trust me.